Welcome back to Catterall's Corner here on Sporf. I'm Adam Catterall and this is my corner and this is your preview for UFC 267. We have got an absolutely stacked card coming to you from Abu Dhabi. We've got a title fight, we've got an interim title fight, and then we've got an undercard that is stuffed full of goodies, so much so that you're going to think that Father Christmas has turned up early. Let's get stuck in to the preview. Let's get into the main event. The light heavyweight championship is on the line. Polish power, the champ, Jan Blachowicz, is defending against the Brazilian Glover Teixeira. Once upon a time at UFC 204, Michael Bisping fought Dan Henderson. Combined ages of 84 years of age. That's the oldest championship fight, combined ages, that we've ever had in the UFC. This one, at the weekend, is the second, 79 years of age between them. Just thought I'd throw that random stat in there. Now, if you'd have said to me 2.5 years ago that these two guys would be standing off for a championship, I'd have told you that you were absolutely crazy. Jan Blachowicz had won one fight in 5. Glover Teixeira had won 2 fights in 5. And that just goes to prove that you can't write anybody off in this game. MMA is completely different to boxing. There's not that much stress put on those losses because the best are always fighting the best. All you've got to do is put a little bit of a run together and you might find yourself fighting for UFC gold. And that's what we find ourselves doing in Abu Dhabi come the main event at UFC 267. Jan Blachowicz has been absolutely sensational of late, as has Glover Teixeira. Nobody's given them these opportunities. These boys have earned their right to be here. Now, it might not be the most glamorous UFC title fight that the UFC could put on, but I'll tell you something, it might just be the most competitive. I have absolutely no idea how this is going to play out. Both of them have got incredible power. Both of them are brilliant at grappling. They could finish each other at any given time in this particular fight, any given way. So if you're going to ask me for a prediction, I ain't going to give you one because this is serious on the fence type stuff. It's going to go either way and I think it's going to come down to who wants it more. Both guys have proved recently that they are elite level and they deserve to be here. This is going to be a cracking fight. Into the co-main event, and this is an interim title for the Bantamweight Championship. Now, if you've watched any of my stuff recently, you'll know full well my thoughts on interim titles. However, for the first time in a long time, this one is valid. Petr, who was the champion for Aljamain Sterling, and he was giving Aljamain Sterling a bit of a hiding until he threw an illegal knee in the direction of Aljamain Sterling and it landed right on his bonds. Petr ended up getting disqualified and the championship belt changed hands. Aljamain Sterling is currently the champion. Obviously fans were outraged and they thought to themselves, well, we need to see a rematch because Jan was beating him up. So the UFC booked the rematch. However, in the interim period of booking that rematch, Aljamain Sterling has gone off for a few surgeries. He's got a bad neck, he's got a bad leg, he's got a bad everything, this fella. Anyway, he's not ready to fight at this moment. So therefore, Petr is without a dance partner, but he most certainly deserves to be fighting for some type of UFC gold. Hence, the interim championship belt. Now he needs a dance partner. Who should the dance partner be? Well, the dance partner should be TJ Dillashaw, the former bantamweight champion who's just returned after a massive ban for performance-enhancing drugs. He's just beaten Cory Sandhagen in a very, very tight fight. However, yeah, you've guessed it, he's out injured having surgery as well, so he's not available to fight. So what they've done is because Sandhagen and TJ Dillashaw last time out had a really, really close fight, they've thrown Cory Sandhagen into this fight in the co-main event. Now, for the first time in I think forever, the UFC have got two guys technically coming off losses, albeit very, very close losses, fighting for UFC gold. That's the story of how we've ended up here. Now, how's this fight going to play out? Now, I'm high on Petr. I think he's absolutely brilliant. He might just have the best boxing in the whole of the UFC. His footwork is sensational. The way that he switches between stances is brilliant. His shot selection and his hand speed, my word, it is a sight to behold. I tipped him to become the champion, and when he became the champion, I obviously gloated quite a lot about it. But I'm also high on Cory Sandhagen. This guy is also very, very good on the feet, brilliant at grappling too. He's a lot taller, a lot longer than Petr, and I think if he's going to have success here, he's got to keep Jan at the end of his jab. Can he do that? I don't know, because Jan's footwork is absolutely tip-top. The way that this fight, in my opinion, is going to play out is whether Cory Sandhagen can land some crazy stuff. He loves the crazy stuff. Whether it spins, whether it flips, whether it comes from some type of crazy angle, he will throw it. If he lands it, he could knock out Petr. If he doesn't land it, and this is the key thing, Petr is probably the best in this division in particular to be able to capitalise on any mistakes. Sandhagen has got to be punch perfect from start to finish. If he's not, he will get finished by this little Russian. Trust me, this is going to be a belter. Now there's plenty of other fights to get excited about at UFC 267 because the card is absolutely stacked. I'm going to start with this one. Habib Nurmagomedov's protege, Islam Makhachev. Everybody's been high on this guy in the lightweight division for such a long period of time, and this now is his opportunity to step up to the plate to show that he's a top contender. The original fight for him in Abu Dhabi was against Rafael dos Anjos. Now, if you follow UFC, you'll know that this fight has been booked so many times, it's ridiculous. It's actually the new Habib versus Tony Ferguson, the fight that never happened. I think it's about 3 times now that this one's been booked and it has fallen off. Well, it's fallen off again. So Islam was without an opponent, up steps Dan Hooker. What a ride this guy has been on recently. He's been flying at short notice to take fights, to get himself back into the conversation of lightweight championship, and he's done it once again. Everybody knows the quarantine situation down under in Australia and New Zealand where people can and can't get in and out of the country. Well, he's a New Zealand native and he is up sticks away from his very young family, and he's been living in Las Vegas training for this particular fight. Don't forget, he only fought a month ago and he's taken this once again on short notice. It's a tough one. Makhachev really is the real deal in my opinion, but we've not really seen him up against the top contenders. We've seen Dan Hooker up against the top contenders. He's lost some, he's won some, he's most certainly earned his stripes in the UFC. This is going to be the acid test for Islam Makhachev. If Dan Hooker can pull off a win though here, my word, does he jump to the top of the pile of the next level of contender. It's going to be a cracking fight. Now, as I said at the start of the show, UFC 267 is an absolutely stacked card, but here's my tip for fight of the night, or at least a fight that's definitely going to generate some type of bonus. Let me take you back to Fight Island last year and a certain Chechen fighter by the name of Khamzat Chimaev fighting out of Sweden. We didn't know too much of him. He jumps onto Fight Island and he takes care of his opponent in quick, smart fashion. He then, in his post-fight interview, says, "I'm not going home, find me another fight." And the UFC did find him another fight 10 days later. It was an unbelievable turnaround, and guess what? He won again, in 2 different weight divisions too. Everybody was on the Khamzat Chimaev train. Then, it kind of all went a little bit south for him, and through no fault of his own, he had various fights booked, one of which was against our very own Leon Edwards, but then COVID obviously kicked in. Not only did his opponents contract COVID, but he did too, and then by all accounts, he had a really bad case of it. There was at one point at the start of this year where they were talking about Khamzat Chimaev retiring because his COVID was that bad. He's only 27 years of age. Anyway, the UFC invested in his medical care, he's managed to get over it, and now this is his first fight back. It's the longest he's been ever outside of the cage/octagon in his career, 15 months. We're going to see what he's all about, because this, to me, is the epitome of why mixed martial arts, and the UFC in particular, is the best sport in the world. Imagine this had happened in boxing. You've got a guy there who jumped onto the scene, everybody had fallen in love with him, and then he ended up getting ill for a 15-month period. His first fight back, you know full well would have been a layup. Just a little bit of a gimme. They'd have pulled some doorman out of Latvia and said, "Go on lad, knock him over," and then feel the love of the adoration of the crowd once again. Not in the UFC. Khamzat Chimaev has been out for 15 months and they are feeding him to an absolute shark. Li Jingliang is no joke. This is a real test for Khamzat. Everybody tells me that he's the absolute daddy. Well, we're going to find out, because he's taking on a top contender. I think he's number 11 ranked in the welterweight division. And last time out, he beat and knocked out in the first round Santiago Ponzinibbio, a guy that I regard as one of the best strikers in the whole of the UFC. Jingliang is no joke. I'm actually going to tip him to get the victory in this fight. So therefore, if I'm surprised, if the upset in my eyes happens, Khamzat Chimaev is most certainly a top player at 170 pounds. But I'm tipping the guy from China to get the job done. It's going to be a brilliant, brilliant fight. So there you have it. There's the main card for UFC 267 coming to you from Abu Dhabi. Don't forget, there's a bit of British interest on this one, on the prelims too. Lerone Murphy, Manchester's own, taking on Makwan Amirkhani. That'll be an absolutely tremendous fight. And here's the kicker for you. If you're a British fight fan, watching me do this preview, you've got a little bit of a treat at the weekend. You don't have to set your alarm for 4 o'clock in the morning to watch all this go down. Oh, no. Because it's in Abu Dhabi, they're looking after us. They are putting this on a UK-friendly time. That's right. I think the prelims get underway from about 5 p.m, with that main card getting underway from 7 p.m. on your Saturday evening. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Not only do you have British interest on the prelims, but you've got at least 5 fights on a 6-fight main card that are going to be absolute flames. Make sure you come back next time for a full UFC 267 review here on Sporf.